Down the spot! That may or may not have picked up. Okay, hello, my name is Sermi, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the new Digital Circus episode, which is Fast Food Massacre, I think is what it's called. I don't know, I haven't memorized the name. Who do you think I am? I'm kidding. So, in this video, I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on the new episode, and just maybe a ranking at the end. I think this episode was really good overall, but let's do a little synopsis of what really happened. Basically, what happened in this episode is that Gangle broke her comedy mask, and Zooble said, hey, I can fix that, and she gave her a new mask from her little bin thingy. Then, after looking at the suggestion box for once in a lifetime, Kane finally decides to take Gangle's request and go work at a fast food restaurant, where Gangle kind of goes berserk and ends up getting hit by Yagster, which is very, very fun. I have a few theories of this, which I'll get to at the very end, but let's just go over what I think was really good and really bad. Starting off with our favorite little goober, Gummy Goo. Gummy Goo, I love episode 2, okay? Episode 2 is probably one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, and it was really sad to see him not remember Pomni and his friends just being silly in general. I think that was really cute.
Oh, wait, I forgot to ask for a kid's meal toy. You're not a kid. Oh, yeah, an adult toy then. Don't know about that one, mate.
I like how it's good writing instead of just fan service, like, oh guys, look, Gummy Goo came back. You know, it's not just fan service like we got in Murder Drones with the NXOJ stuff. But I'm very thankful that, you know, Goose didn't, like, overuse it and stuff. But I feel like if Gummy Goo were to show up again, that would be too much. It's really sad how Gummy Goo became the one thing he didn't want to be, you know, in NPC and all that stuff. Oh, that rhymed. And it's just very sad to see his story kind of go on this journey where he has an existential crisis about being an NPC and not feeling real, and how I really relate to derealization and stuff, for him to eventually just forget about everything, and it's just so heartbreaking to see. Overall, I think this interaction was pretty good, and everything about this was also really cute. The shippers went crazy, and I think that's something that really made this scene. And that's all I have to say about the Gummy Goo thing, unless it just was really, really sad. That's all I have to say on it. Another thing I want to touch on is Ragatha and her true thoughts when she, got really high. She's not always being genuine to other people, which you can definitely see shine through with Gangle, you know, asking Ragatha, like, if she can, you know, put a little bit of effort, and Ragatha responds with, you're kind of annoying with your happy mask on, and this really breaks Gangle, which I will get on to in a little bit. A lot of people are also very iffy on if she's really this genuine and this, you know, kind to everybody, which, yeah, I mean, of course. She's always putting people before herself severely, and I feel like that's a big flaw in her character, and it's hopefully going to be well written, and I hope she has some backstory on why she's like this. I do also like the Raggedy Ann references. That was really cool, even though I've, like, never seen it. But something that I do have to complain about is the first sight of her being high, how Spooky Gangle showed up, and how it just really went unnoticed. And everybody has been using it for thumbnails now. Like, I'm not even kidding, I've seen like 50,000 thumbnails just using that. It's actually insane. Jax and Pomni is also something that I want to touch on, and I feel like it's not very important. I might just be stealing this from Yagster or something like that, but I really don't think that this is a big interaction and step in like Jax's character. I think Jax is still a very, you know, closed off person, and the reason why he's super closed off is probably something terrible happened to him, which we'll see in episode 6, I believe. But how Jax kind of opened up to Pomni was really cool to see, and I hope we get more of that, you know, later on, and hopefully he gets, you know, nicer someday. Jax went from everybody's favorite character to their least favorite, which I think is hilarious, just within one episode. But Jax is always gonna be just a silly goober, and I don't really have a lot of thoughts on him. He was kind of an asshole the entire episode, but nonetheless, he's chill.
And dropped her in the deep fryer.
His thing with Gangle and in that one room had literally no plot relevancy whatsoever. Like, I can't tell you a single thing what happened after that, except for him talking to Pomni for once, and it just did not do anything for me. Yes, it was very scary, but did anything happen afterwards? No. Did he act different? Maybe a little bit, but nothing really overall happened.
Are you smiling?
No.
Why not?
I feel like this really went unnoticed and isn't the best writing choice. The punishment that Gangle threatens him with never gets explained or showed in the entire thing. Maybe it'll show up in the next episode and leave us off with a cliffhanger, but that also just did not click with me. And I've seen a lot of theories of if he's a clone or an NPC, seen by his license plates at the very, very end, which I'll touch on more at the end. Moving on to Gangle, her mass depression really works. Gangle being bipolar and how her emotions fluctuate and stuff is very keen on just her comedy mask in general, and I think that's very good character design, one, and writing. The way that Zooble gives her this mask to mass depression and stuff is something that a lot of therapy things do get wrong, just hide it or something. And not that Zooble is doing anything wrong, I mean, these are just random people in a VR headset game, but it very much shows the real struggles in life, especially when you live or work in a fast food restaurant. Or at least in the food industry. How the mask is just breaking and you can hear it kind of chip every single time that she kind of loses it is very accurate to how it is in real life. When she gets called annoying, her mask kind of goes pink, and that's just good. I feel like a lot of people, including me, can relate to that. And also it just shows how emotions are just building up inside of her and how she just screams at the very end.
You good?
The little scene where she takes off her mask doesn't really mean the depression is gone, but unmasking your emotions is better than holding them close, especially when you're able to open up about them. That can really help. If you do have depression, however, or anything like that, you can definitely seek help, maybe either at therapy or somewhere else. People around you do love and care about you, just so you know, and help is always there. I don't have any good resources, but I bet you can definitely look out and reach out to other people. I also really find it sad how Gangle is so excited to run her own restaurant and be a manager and everything, but everything ends up falling apart, and it really just ends up, like, awful. And also with Yexter hitting her with a car, I have a little bit of a theory on that. Working on a job in fast food is very tough, and a lot of my friends have actually worked in fast food online and in real life, and it is not fun. Having to put on a smile for the people that you are attending and stuff, and work with, is just difficult and tiring in general, because you don't really feel happy, it's just very forced, and that explains why Gangle has this scene. Speaking more on this scene, I think what really is bad about this episode is that it wasn't as straightforward as a lot of the other episodes, and you can take this in two ways, but personally for me, it's a bit of bad and a bit of good. It was never straightforward like how Kinger had his whole entire arc about him and his wife, and opening up to Pomni about the entire thing, and then Gangle, when she's confronted with Pomni and how it normally happens, Gangle completely ignores her and just says, hey, well, we gotta get back to work, and this kind of threw me off a little bit. Yes, Gangle can have her own moments, you know, running through a parking lot and unmasking her masked depression, but it really just didn't click with me until the very end. I think this is a good thing and a bad thing, and I will explain right here, right now. It's bad because you're used to that consistency and you just don't get it. It's also just a bit weird, and I don't know, it's just odd for me. And I feel like Goose could have done better with maybe Zooble opening, but I feel like Goose could have done better with Gangle opening up to Zooble instead of Pomni or just herself, because that would give both of the characters the screen time that they need. Plus, these characters are adorable together, and I love their chemistry so much, and I may or may not ship them. Something that I don't like about TADC is that it's so repetitive, and this episode kind of changed that around for me. Pomni's always the therapist in this, and then Gangle ends up being her own therapist, which was good, but kind of threw me off because it was a bit of a surprise, especially on the first watch. I feel like a lot of people do also struggle with this. Unless you don't catch it on early, the episode never fully takes off. I feel like I was waiting until like the lunch rush or whatever for it to finally take off, but we just got this scene instead.
Are you ready to order?
No thanks. I got this bowl of cereal.
I feel like the show overall deeply relies on the characters and not the plot itself. It has not gone into the lore at all, and it kind of pisses me off, because Matt Pat did a whole entire theory about it, and actually multiple theories, and he's gone, so what are we gonna do? I feel like Goose really needs to emphasize the lore, and I hope she does, because if it does not take off in the next episode, I don't think it ever will, and I think it will be rushed to episode 8 and 9. Kind of like Murder Drones was, but not fully. I love the character growth and everything that comes with it, but I feel like you need that with the lore itself. Especially with all the theories and stuff that came out when the pilot was launched, we have not gotten a single thing about the exit in, like, a year. Overall, I think this episode was actually amazing. The pacing was okay, the animation was wonderful, the scripting was okie dokie with me, but it felt a little bit forced for Gangle, which I guess is a bit inner character. I liked all the references and stuff, you know, from Halloween 3, and I also love how the Gloink Queen in German named the little itty bitty Gloinks, I think it was Uzi, N, and Sin, which is actually adorable. Pomni not getting a lot of screen time was also great. I think we needed a little bit of a break from her. And along with Pomni, I think it's good that she did not therapize Gangle. I feel like a lot of shippers have kind of gone crazy over this episode with Gummy Goo and Pomni, Ragapom, and of course Zangle, which is something that I may or may not share. And I feel like this has to place in my third favorite episode after the pilot in second and number 2 in first. This episode was actually incredible, and I cannot wait to see episode 5 of The Amazing Digital Circus, which is going to be about my favorite, Ragatha. I mean, well, Gangle and Kane are like my favorite, but I like Ragatha too. Without further ado, have a good day or night, depending on where you live. Thank you so much for watching, and toodles. Alright, little editor's note here. Hi, it's Sermi. It's me. This is my first ever full video edited on a laptop, so if it's a little bit crappy, I'm sorry. And yes, my PNG is back to normal, because I don't really like the new one. 1, and 2, it's really pixelated, and I just re-recorded this and stuff, so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and, I may or may not do this, but, if you guys wanna, if you guys wanna be in a video, comment your actual workplace experiences down below, and I might compare them with Spudsy's, which will be really, really cool. Yeah, and then, right after, I finished watching the episode, I went on VC, and do you wanna know the first thing that I heard? Yagster just said, the first scene was Gangle playing with her balls, and it actually flabbergasted me. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.